Welcome to Box Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie Togo, released in the year 2019. The movie starts and we're taken to 1913, where we see a man named Seppala who happens to be a dog breeder and trainer. He also does sledding with the help of his dogs. Seppala and his wife Constance welcome a newborn Siberian Husky puppy to their sledding dog pack in Nome, Alaska. While Seppala insists on immediately retiring him due to his small and weak state, Constance is strongly supportive of the puppy. He goes on to tell his wife that this is Alaska, and weak dogs like this puppy do not usually survive this place. His wife still ends up convincing him to give the dog at least one chance. He agrees, and they name him Togo. Time goes by, and Togo grows up to be a very bratty dog. He has no discipline whatsoever. The young dog turns out to be close to unmanageable, and refuses to stay at home when the other dogs are working. He constantly escapes when left in the kennel and seeks out Seppala's dog team, causing great disruption to Seppala's training routine. His wife tells him to make Togo a sled dog, but Seppala tells her that it is not possible. He then goes on to give Togo to one of his friends, who brings the dog back to Seppala the very next day, telling him that this is a very undisciplined dog, so he does not want it. Seppala is not at all happy with the return of Togo, because he always keeps disturbing whatever Seppala does. When Togo is locked in a cage, he goes on to dig a hole near the cage walls and manages to escape. Togo then makes his way to the place where Seppala is practicing sledding with all his other dogs. Togo goes on to disrupt him throughout the training session, and Seppala then goes on to lock him inside a room the next day so that he does not break free and disturb the training of the other dogs again. Togo still manages to break free. This time he uses the upper window to get out of the room. He again ends up getting to the place where Seppala is training the other dogs. Seppala is now sick of Togo. The couple calls one of their friends, and the woman agrees to take the dog. However, Seppala ends up breaking out of the glass window yet again, and makes his way back to the place where Seppala is training other dogs. Seppala is shocked to see him there. He then sees that the dog is hurt, and he's bleeding too. It must have been the glass window. Seppala right away puts him on the sled board. He does not want Togo to roam around because the smell of his blood could end up attracting the wild animals out there, and it could be really dangerous for them. Togo, however, does not at all want to sit on the board while the other dogs run. Seppala finally binds him alongside the other dogs, and when he's running, Seppala notices that Togo is quicker than the dogs he's bound with him. So he goes on to put Togo alongside the dog at the top. But Togo is way faster than those dogs too. By the time they get home, Togo is in front of all the other dogs. No dog is able to match his speed, and that makes Seppala both excited and astounded. He comes running to his wife and goes on to tell her that Togo is not just a sled dog, it's a lead dog who has left all the other dogs behind. He realizes the puppy has the potential to be a future champion. He calls him Togo after another underdog, Japanese Admiral Togo Haihachiro. He fully trains Togo to the point where he successfully wins the All-Alaska Sweepstakes, earning both Togo and himself some local fame. Years go by just like that, and in 1925, a diphtheria outbreak occurs in Nome, mostly affecting children. Mayor George Maynard plans to have the serum flown in from Nenana, but this proves to be impossible due to the severity of the weather. A meeting by town officials hears that air delivery is impossible due to the weather and concludes that only Seppala has the skill to drive the 600-mile journey in such weather to collect the antitoxin. They then go on to ask Seppala about the weather, and Seppala tells them that there's a storm on the other side of the mountains, and it seems to be approaching their town. He says that when his dogs saw that storm, they started running towards home. This is the first time even Togo has done it in 12 long years. He says that if Togo is scared of the storm, all of them should definitely be scared too, because this storm is going to be brutal. Despite that, all of them want Seppala to go get that antidote, but Seppala leaves the meeting without giving a response. When he is about to leave on his sled, he is approached by a doctor who asks for a lift. He drops him at the hospital, and through the window of the small hospital, he goes on to see many kids who are sick. They've caught the viral disease, and it is clear that they're going to die if the antidote is not brought soon. When he's with his wife later that night, he goes on to tell her that he's gonna go get that medicine at any cost, because he cares about those little sick kids. His wife tells him that it is not a wise decision because traveling 600 kilometers in such weather is nothing less than a suicide. He tells her that he saw those kids earlier and he knows all those kids. He does not want to let them just die like that. Sapala says that he's going to take Togo with him, but his wife reminds him that Togo is 12 already. She reminds him that he is the one who once said Togo could not even go 150 miles. Now he's talking about taking him 600 miles. Constance becomes concerned and says the journey will kill the dog, but Sapala insists on going and tells her that without Togo leading the team, he himself would be unlikely to survive. Togo is in front of all the other dogs, like always, and Sapala keeps shouting at the dogs to keep moving because they have to get to Nanana as soon as possible to get the antidote. All of them are about to run off a very high cliff, but Togo sees the cliff just in time despite the storm and saves both Sapala and the other dogs' lives. Sapala goes on to see that Togo is bleeding from the foot, but he still has to keep going until he finds a shelter. Sapala and his team tread through stormy weather and take a break at an outpost where a local doctor named Atiktalik tells him that Togo is tired and a journey this long is not really good for the dog. Sapala continues on for miles, taking a dangerous shortcut across the melting Norton Sound to save a day's sledding. When he sees this, he does not get scared and tells his dogs to move forward. Now they're sledding on the frozen lake while a heavy storm approaches them. Togo keeps running as the leader of the dogs. They manage to pull it off. In the meantime, after he leaves, a relay effort is set up to bring the serum back, with different teams running 31-mile stretches each because the kid's condition is really getting bad now. On the other hand, Sapala continues his journey through thick and thin. After sledding for the whole day, they make a stop at yet another outpost where they're going to spend the night. Sapala's wife, on the other hand, goes to see the mayor, who goes on to tell her that the antidote is being sent to them and the people sent to bring it will run into Sapala on the way. She, however, does not like it because she knows that Sapala is going to take shortcuts and they will never run into him. On the other hand, we see Sapala, who wakes up the very next morning and resumes his journey again. Togo's condition deteriorates, but the faithful dog does not stop. Sapala himself is really tired. He's been taking shortcuts to get to his destination. The other man is taking the antidote from Nanana, and if Sapala does not run into that man, it will be a disaster, because when Sapala gets there, he won't be able to get the antidote. We see that he's asleep, and his eyes keep closing while his dogs keep moving forward, despite the heavy storm. When Sapala goes past a mountain, he's almost out. This is when we go on to see Henry. Henry is on top of the mountain, while Sapala is way down. However, Henry still manages to see Sapala and tries to stop him. He calls to him, tries to make signals, but Sapala is unable to hear or see anything because there's a storm, and this storm is really loud. On top of that, his dogs keep moving at a rapid pace. While Sapala is unable to hear his voice, Togo ends up hearing him and stops right away. Just when Henry starts thinking that Sapala did not see him and he's now gone, Henry loses hope. When Henry is down on his knees on the ice, he sees someone approaching. This is Sapala. Sapala now has the antidote for which he has traveled so far. Both of them then make their way to an outpost to spend the night. When Henry sees Togo's condition, he goes on to tell Sapala that he should not have brought this dog. He adds that Togo is not going to be able to make it back to the town. Henry says that Sapala should just leave Togo in the area they are because he has seen many dogs dying in a storm like the one they're currently going through. Sapala, however, makes it clear that he has no intentions of leaving his lead dog behind, adding that he cannot move without Togo. Sapala and his team head back across the Norton Sound again. This is the same frozen lake he crossed not more than 2 days ago. Sapala has to go through this lake at any cost, but when the dogs step on the lake, it starts cracking because of the weight. Sapala still decides that he's going to use the same way to get past the lake, because if he does not do it, he's going to have to spend another day sledding. All the dogs start moving at a rapid pace on the frozen lake, but it starts cracking, and we even see water flowing in the other half of the lake. As they move across the breaking ice, the whole team now becomes stranded on a broken piece of ice near the shore, and Sapala is forced to throw Togo to shore, where the dog pulls the entire ice floe to safety. The effort and the ensuing run through the driving storm exhausts Togo. They keep moving forward and finally end up reaching Tiktaalik outpost again. She tells him Togo is dying. She has tears in her eyes, and Sapala is also heartbroken to learn that his most beloved and the most faithful dog is dying. The next day, when Sapala is about to resume his journey, he makes Togo sit on the sled, knowing that his dog is badly injured, so he should not be leading the sled anymore. However, Togo does not want to sit behind. He has never been a loser. He right away gets back to his own post, making it abundantly clear that he still wants to lead. Seeing that his dog wishes to lead the sled still, he respects his wishes and goes on to bind him in front of all the dogs. Togo wants to finish the journey, and he keeps moving forward. As they move forward, the storm gets so bad that Sapala is not able to see anything. He does not even know which direction they're moving in. He then goes to Togo. He tells him that he's not able to see anything, adding that Togo is the only one who can lead them to the next outpost. After that, Sapala goes on to sit on the sled and leaves everything to Togo, who starts moving forward again. As time goes by, they keep moving forward. The storm gets heavier and heavier, which makes it hard for the already exhausted Togo to move further. He loses it. Sapala gets off the sled, goes to his dog, who seems to be out now. He tells Togo that he's going to have to keep moving forward, because if he does not do it, they're all going to die in this brutal weather. Togo, however, does not respond. This is the first time Togo has not responded. Sapala is really worried now. This is when he sees a light approaching. It is one of Sapala's friends. They're already at the outpost. Sapala is really emotional at this, because even in this condition, Togo has saved everyone's life. They stay at Joe Dexter's outpost, as he, Togo, and the team recuperate. The serum is passed off to fellow musher Gunnar Kesson. He has been sent by Sapala's wife so that he can quickly get the serum to the village, so that the kids could quickly be given the antidote to save their lives. All of them take rest at night, and the next day, the new musher leaves with the antidote with his dogs. After a few hours, he makes his entry into Nomo, the town where a reporter is already waiting for him. The reporter, confusing him for being the sole musher, announces his dog Balto as the hero who saved Nome, disappointing Constance. Sapala returns to Nome later, where the entire town comes to his house to celebrate Togo's success. Sapala later becomes upset when a cured girl named Sally asks if Togo is dying. Sapala intends to continue training his dogs without Togo, who gained a paw injury during the run. But despite age and injury, Togo refuses to stay housebound and chases down Sapala, who welcomes him with open arms. Over the next 2 years, Togo sires puppies of his own that prove to be famous in their own right and contribute to the Sapala Siberian bloodline. Togo eventually passes away in 1929, with Sapala continuing to train dogs. A title card at the end reveals that while Balto had received a statue in his honor in New York, Togo is remembered in Alaska for making the longest run and for being the true hero of Nome, and his offspring became prized by mushers worldwide for their sledding capabilities. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.